Hello and welcome to the C9 update. Now I did say that I was going to give up on the machine and just send it off for sale, but and this isn't actually in typical YouTuber fashion. I did have a change of heart after trying to sell it and having some minor issues on eBay, which just led me to just pull the sale and say, do you know what, I'm going to give it a second go. What I did in the meantime was I purchased the F1 that you saw in the previous video, and what I've done is I've actually got out of the F1 the motor unit, as you can see here. So this is the one from the F1, this is the one in the C9. Now the part numbers do look different, but I'm wondering if they're similar in any way. And I'm actually wondering if the difference is actually these cables. Because if I put this here, you can see that these cables are actually a lot shorter than the ones coming off of the C9 module. So I'd be interested to see if the ones coming off the C9 module are actually longer, and I've got a feeling that they probably are, you know. So they're going to be going into this board, obviously, which is the board that replaced both these driver chips on. And what I'm probably going to start doing is quite literally just taking the connectors for this off of this board and then plug the F1 motor module into the board and just see what happens, see if it actually spins up or does anything, because they look quite free at the moment, so it would be interesting to see if this one is free moving or not. So now if I remember from when I did this on the F1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that hold it in. They do look very similar. I would say the difference is most definitely those cables. So I may as well remove this anyway, because I can give it a bit of a visual inspection as well. I've been told that the stators for the direct drive motors can short circuit, and that would 100% explain why we seem to be having problems with the chips overheating on the board itself. I would be interested to know if that is indeed the case, because to me it makes a lot of sense. It seems like something that would actually happen, and it just makes perfect logical sense with what I'm seeing. In other words, these overload, they get hot. Sorry, they're out of shot there, but these chips in here, still can't see it. Chips in here overload, get hot, melt, expire, and well, really that's it for those. But it would make perfect sense that that is indeed the reason why we're having so many issues. So that does look like it wants to come free. It's probably going to take a bit of wriggling about to get it out. Now I've actually just realised something. Even though the motors are free running on here, even though they do spin nicely, there is always still the possibility that they are knackered, because these actual stator coils might be shorted. Stator. So let's manoeuvre some of these wiring clips out of the way. Whoops. Go. That's given us a bit more leeway. There we are. That's better. Let's have a look at the other side of it. Although I've got to admit, in fairness, that does feel a bit stiff. And that, again, they do feel a bit stiff actually. That might be because of this brake mechanism. Yeah, you see, you can't determine if it's a problem with the stator because they're both spinning freely, so there's no telling really. So we're going to have to do a bit of snipping because we've got bits of wire in the way. Actually, we do need to check this top side to make sure we've got the same sort of connectors and indeed the same sort of board. So those chips, that's an 814504, that's an 821404, so that's already different. These are different, so there's not enough capacitors, there's more capacitors there. So it does look like the boards are different. Now, is it possible to unsolder the board? That's the question. Indeed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 on 6. Board is held in there, or is it? That's the question. It might be actually. Yeah, I think it might be. You can see it looks different on this side because you got this on here. So ideally we would probably need the circuit board off of this one because there are definite differences. Minor differences, but differences nonetheless. Connector wise, large connector, smaller connector. So I guess that those are the same. So let's see if we can actually strip this one off. So we'll start with this, which is what looks like some kind of, I think it's a solenoid, I guess. And that is, how is that attached? Oh, that's literally wires into the back of it. That's okay, so that should do that. There you go. So that's already one thing out of the way. Then you've got these rivets holding it in as well, so they could prove to be interesting but not beyond the realms of removability, let's say. That's the ribbon connector, so we should be able to do something with that. These rivets look like they will just grind off if needs be. Because it's this board I want to keep and this that I want to get rid of. And I want to replace that with the one that's on the F1. I mean, the thing is, this is totaled anyway, so that we know of, so we're not really going to do a huge amount of damage because I need a replacement as it stands. Let's have a look at the one on the F1. What I might do is experiment with this one before having a go on this one. So for the moment, take that off. that gets that out of the way. That literally just sits into there for the moment. This can go and just sit itself back down in there again. There we go. And I'll just hold it in with a screw. Actually, a couple of screws. And one over here. That'll do. There we go. Flip the board back over. And just hold the board in place with probably a couple. It's mainly just to keep things so that they just don't sort of interfere with anything. Just keeps everything nicely out of the way. There we go. And we'll put the base back on. And we'll secure that like so. Right, there we go. I'm just going to box this back up and then we'll start to focus our attention on the F1 motor module. So this is the F1 motor module, and what I think I'm going to do is start easy. There we are. That's the easy part. We're going to go on to be slightly more complicated. There we are. That's the slightly more complicated part. And just checking something to see where these screws go. Yeah, they are. There, there, and there. Now we're going to go all out more complicated. So we're going to start with this screw for this solenoid. There we go. And that's convenient. We're going to do this screw on this little oh, careful with that, you don't want to break it. This little sensor. Basically, those are Hall effect sensors, I believe. And on this sensor as well. And I'll leave that in place because I don't want to disturb that too much, because that's going to be part of this board when I take it out. I'm also in two minds as to whether this will work, judging by the corrosion that's on there, but you never know. It could. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We haven't lost anything. Just trying to think which would be the best way to do this. Would it be best to unsolder this side or unsolder this side? Oops, that's come off, but that can go on easily enough. And I'm going to go with this side. So let's get started. Probably need to go over these again, to be honest with you. Yeah, definitely need to go over these again, I reckon, but it's a start. Especially this one, that one looks like it still has all of its solder on it. Alright, let's see if that's made a difference. Ideally, I don't want to be pulling too much on the ribbon cable itself. I want to be working the little plastic connector the ribbon cable goes into, because that's going to be arguably a little bit stronger. So let's grab a flat blade, small flat blade. And that does it. Next one is these rivets. So you've got 1, 2, 3. No, you haven't. You've got 1 and I think 2, looking at that. So that one and that one. And they will need to be replaced because you need these sensors in line with these. Right, let's have a look at what we can do with them. So we could, I reckon, grind them off with a Dremel. So let's go and fetch the Dremel and a little tiny grinding disc. Right, let's start very slowly. And in Dremel terms, that's very slowly. Now you might say, oh, you're not going to be reusing that board, but I want to try and do it perfectly on this one, so that when I come to the C9, I'm already well versed, let's say. Let's see if that's made a difference. So it's made a difference there, and actually there as well. And what's it held on to, or by? So it has come loose, which which is what we wanted, but it still seems to be attached somewhere because it's not moving fully. It's definitely moving on the rivet points, as you can see, both sides, but it's still attached at one of the points, so it's definitely not there. Definitely not there. Definitely not there. Let's have a look underneath this. Interesting. So, where would it be attached? Oh, okay. It's just a bit sticky, that's all. And that exposes the motor module. I bet you that if I compared this part number with the part number on the C9, they'd be identical. However, I've been proven wrong a few times in this video so far, because I thought that both of these would be identical. And when I discovered that they weren't, I thought that the major difference would be the length of the cables. Then I discovered that that wasn't the case, because these are completely different boards. This one is specific to certainly the F1, and who knows what other decks it's also specific to. As this particular, I just realised I actually unsoldered a resistor leg there that I didn't need to unsolder, so let's correct. Actually no, I've turned the soldering iron off, doesn't matter. At least that's out anyway. So next time I'm going to be attempting to fit this motor module into the C9, and we'll actually see if that works. So that's definitely different. I would hope that these are the same, but we will soon find out for sure. Anyway, for the moment, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you again very soon. Take care, and thanks for watching.